I still remember the exact moment I met Karen Blackwood. She stood at my gate with her arms crossed, tapping her foot impatiently as if she owned the entire mountain. Her perfectly styled blonde hair didn't move an inch in the mountain breeze, and her HOA president badge gleamed like a sheriff's star. She wore a pristine white blazer despite the dirt road, and her designer heels seemed comically out of place on the gravel. "I need the key to inspect this property," she announced with a tone that suggested she'd never been told no in her life. Behind her, my state-of-the-art security system hummed quietly, its cameras tracking every movement while the biometric scanner waited patiently for authorized access. The morning sun glinted off the solar panels on my roof, and I could see her eyes narrowing as she cataloged every visible detail of my property. I'd moved to Pine Ridge Summit just 3 months earlier, seeking peace from the chaos of Silicon Valley. After selling my cybersecurity firm for more money than I'd ever dreamed of, I wanted somewhere quiet to work on my next project. My $2 million cabin sat nestled deep in the Colorado mountains, a technological fortress disguised as rustic luxury. The exterior maintained the traditional log cabin aesthetic the HOA required, but inside, it was a smart home that would make Tony Stark jealous. The irony wasn't lost on me that even here, 20 miles from the nearest town, I'd somehow fallen under the jurisdiction of a tiny mountain community's HOA. Pine Ridge Summit was originally a cluster of vacation homes built in the 1980s, but over time, some residents had made them permanent residences. That's when the HOA formed, and that's when Karen Blackwood found her calling. Karen had introduced herself within days of my arrival, clipboard in hand and regulations memorized. She ran the Pine Ridge Summit Homeowners Association like a military operation, despite it only covering 12 properties scattered across the mountainside. Every rule, no matter how minor, was sacred scripture to her. She'd shown up at 7 a.m. sharp, dressed like she was attending a corporate board meeting rather than visiting a neighbor in the mountains. "Welcome to Pine Ridge Summit," she'd said with a smile that didn't reach her eyes. "I'm here to ensure you understand our community standards. We have a 137-page manual that you'll need to memorize. There will be a test." I'd thought she was joking about the test. She wasn't. The woman had actually created a 40-question multiple-choice exam about proper mailbox heights, acceptable paint colors, and the approved species of plants for landscaping. I'd humored her and taken it, scoring a perfect 100% thanks to my photographic memory. She seemed disappointed that she couldn't fail me on a technicality. "Good morning, Mrs. Blackwood," I said through the intercom, keeping my voice professionally neutral. "I'm afraid I can't provide keys to private property. Is there something specific you need?" Her face turned an interesting shade of red. "As HOA president, I have the authority to inspect any property for compliance violations. Your architectural plans show modifications that weren't approved by the board." The modifications she referred to were security features that most people wouldn't even notice. Hidden cameras, motion sensors, and a backup power system that could run the place for a month. Nothing that violated any actual rules, but Karen had a gift for finding problems where none existed. "I'd be happy to schedule a tour at a mutually convenient time," I offered. "With proper notice, of course." She huffed and marched away, but I knew this was far from over. Karen Blackwood didn't take rejection well. Over the next few weeks, her visits became as regular as the sunrise. She'd appear at my gate with new complaints and fresh demands. The solar panels were supposedly too reflective. The security lights were too bright. The gravel on my private road wasn't the approved shade of gray. Each time, I responded with polite refusal and careful documentation. My security system logged every interaction, every threat of fines, every attempt to assert authority she didn't actually possess. I'd learned long ago that data was the best defense against people like Karen. The situation escalated on a crisp Thursday afternoon. I was in my home office, reviewing code for a new encryption algorithm, when my security system alerted me to approaching vehicles. 3 people at the gate, 2 vehicles, elevated heart rates detected by the thermal imaging. Karen arrived with 2 burly men she introduced as security consultants, hired by the HOA. They stood behind her like mob enforcers while she delivered her ultimatum. One man had a shaved head and neck tattoos poorly hidden by his collar. The other kept flexing his fingers nervously, a tell that my years in cybersecurity had taught me to recognize as someone preparing for confrontation. Their van was a beat-up white panel model with magnetic signs reading Mountain Security Solutions in generic font. A quick search on my phone revealed no such company existed in the state of Colorado. "We've received a safety complaint about your property," she announced with a triumphant tone. "These gentlemen need immediate access to verify the structural integrity of your cabin." I studied the men through my security monitors. Neither wore any identification, and their consulting firm van had magnetic signs that looked freshly applied. My facial recognition system was already running their images through various databases. "What safety complaint?" I asked. "And who filed it?" "That's confidential HOA business," Karen snapped. "Now open this gate immediately, or I'll have no choice but to levy the maximum fines allowable." She reached for the keypad beside my gate, apparently planning to try random codes. The moment her fingers touched the panel, my security system responded exactly as designed. Red lights flashed, an alarm chirped once, and the magnetic locks engaged with an audible thunk. "Unauthorized access attempt detected," the system announced in a pleasant female voice. "Perimeter secured. Authorities have been notified." Karen jumped back as if the keypad had shocked her. The two men exchanged nervous glances and took several steps away from the gate. "What did you do?" she shrieked with a panicked tone. "I activated the external speakers. Mrs. Blackwood, you've just attempted to gain unauthorized entry to a secured facility. That's a federal offense, given the sensitive technology stored here. I suggest you leave immediately." Her face cycled through several shades of purple. "Secured facility? This is a residential property. You can't just declare it a secured facility." "Actually, I can," I replied with a calm tone that I knew would infuriate her. "My company's defense contracts require certain security protocols for any location where I work. Your HOA rules don't supersede federal security requirements." The two consultants were already backing toward their van. They clearly hadn't signed up for potential federal charges. "This isn't over," Karen shouted as they drove away. "The HOA board will hear about this." Perfect. That's exactly what I'd been waiting for. The emergency HOA meeting was scheduled for the following Tuesday evening at the community center, a glorified log cabin with folding chairs and fluorescent lighting. Karen had rallied her supporters, all three of them, and demanded my immediate expulsion from the community. I arrived 15 minutes early with a laptop and a portable projector. The room smelled of pine cleaner and desperation. Besides Karen and her 3 loyalists, 8 other homeowners had shown up, more than had attended any meeting in the past 2 years, according to Robert Garrison. News of the gate incident had spread quickly through our small community, and everyone wanted to see the showdown between Karen and the mysterious tech millionaire who'd moved into the old Pembroke place. I recognized several faces from my morning runs. Sarah and Tom Ashford, the retired teachers from Cabin 4, Miguel Santos, the landscape artist whose work graced half the properties on the mountain, and Eleanor Fitzgerald, the 92-year-old former judge who'd built one of the first cabins here back in 1983. "Before we begin," I said with a pleasant tone, "I'd like to present some relevant information to the board." Karen tried to object, but Robert Garrison, the board's treasurer and only voice of reason, overruled her. I connected my laptop and began my presentation. The first video showed Karen's initial demand for my keys, complete with audio of her claiming authority she didn't possess. The second showed her returning after hours, trying to peer through my windows with binoculars. The third captured her instructing the mail carrier to report any suspicious packages delivered to my address. The room grew quieter with each clip. Even Karen's supporters began shifting uncomfortably in their seats. "This is illegal surveillance," Karen protested with a desperate tone. "Actually, it's not," I continued. "These recordings were made on my property, with clearly posted security notices. However, this next part might interest law enforcement." I played the footage of Karen attempting to access my gate with the 2 unidentified men. The security system's facial recognition had identified one as having a criminal record for breaking and entering. "You hired a convicted burglar to break into my property?" asked Jennifer Park, the board secretary, her voice filled with shock. Karen's mouth opened and closed like a fish gasping for air. "I didn't know. They said they were security consultants." Without any licensing,